Hello, and welcome to Spiritual Soup with Jules and Wendy. I'm Wendy James,
And I'm Jules Rafter.
and together we are Spiritual Soup. And tonight we're pretty darn excited. We've got a fantastic topic coming up. We're going to be talking about labyrinths. What do you think of that, Miss Jules?
I think it's pretty exciting. I
I
think
do
that
too.
this is going to be one of those shows where you learn a lot. There's such an excited energy between you and our guest. I think it's going to be a great show.
I know it's going to be a great show. Our guest's name is Elizabeth BJ Mosier, and I've had the pleasure of knowing BJ for about 14 years. And she is probably, to me, one of the most soothing, brightest. You know, when you meet people and their energy is just shiny, you know, that shiny stuff, multiply that times a few, and that's what radiates out of BJ every time you're around her. So without much more hesitation, I would love to introduce you, BJ, to our guests, and if you could introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, hello. Thank you very much, Jules and Wendy. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much, and even to have this radio show. This is an awesome event. Thank you. Thank you.
Yay.
Just a little bit about myself. I live in the beautiful Thousand Islands with my husband Alex, and we have a little shop here. And we have been, I don't know, on a spiritual quest, I guess, all our lives. And when the labyrinth thing just all of a sudden appeared in our life, it just was an incredible path to take. I'm also a Reiki master and a Karuna Reiki, and I do a lot of different other healing modalities, IET, Amadeus, and have been doing things since the 70s.
That's fantastic, BJ. And your shop is such a wonderful, wonderful place to be. It's right in the heart of Alexandria Bay. It's called Treasure Island. And in there, your jewelry and the statues and the items that are in there are breathtaking. And every time I get to go to Alexandria Bay, I always want to go into your shop and just look around and buy things and see things. It's just so lovely.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're going on our 40th year this year in there. And we do a lot of work with stones and using loving energy and charging up the jewelry.
I know and you can feel it too with every piece. And when I had my own store, I got a lot of my jewelry from you guys and was able to offer it to people here in Ontario as well. But before we go into our topic, I do want to toss it to you, Jules, for a moment because you've got something exciting to announce and you've got an offer that you're putting out there as well. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and when you're done, we'll jump into our program.
Well, thank you. So it's one of those days where I thought it was just going to be like a regular old day and go through the motions and do what we need to do and see people and do all the tasks that needed to get done. However, I was distracted this morning because one of my clients sent me this article that she saw online. And the article is from a website called In Our City, Ottawa, and it talks about everything that's going on in Ottawa, whether this is entertainment, what's hot, different things to do, places to see, people you don't want to miss, that kind of stuff. And anyhow, there was this fantastic article called 7 Ottawa Psychics That Have the Answers to All Your Questions. And we, meaning myself and Wendy, were recognized as being 7 of the top psychics in all of Ottawa. And
woohoo!
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that awesome? We thought that was pretty.
Woohoo.
It was, and it was so nice that I had no idea the article was coming out or anything like that, but that these are people from Ottawa, from our city, and these journalists and people who write different editorials and stuff like that. And they obviously connected with all of us at some point. And put this out there. I think this is really awesome. It's an honor to have people recognize us as being, professionals in our line of work. And we both do it because we love what we do. We love helping people. So I think it was a great recognition today. And I was really proud of that. So
I was really proud too. It was a great little plus to an already beautiful day. You know, it is super spectacular. I found out because you let me know that you'd found out that we
exactly.
were named as these. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah,
You
and
need,
it's
you need to share that now.
Exactly.
absolutely,
Exactly.
absolutely.
So, and Jules, you have a special going between now and the end of December as well.
Yes, I do. So we thought it would be a good idea to let people know about any kind of specials or events that are upcoming in either of our lives. So I wanted to let people know that from now until the end of December, I am offering a buy one get one half price special. Sometimes people would like to buy a gift certificate for one person, or even for two, or to buy a session for themselves and give one as a gift. So there's your perfect opportunity to buy a session with me and get another one half price that you can either give as a gift or you can use for yourself. And these is an offer that I've already had a lot of people who loved this. I've done this before and they thought it was a great idea. So I figured, you know what? Holidays are coming up again. So let's do that once again. So yeah, thank you for letting me
Awesome, Jules.
tell people about that, Wendy.
Letting you. I'm glad that you are telling people because they're getting a really good deal by purchasing that. Not only that, but little stocking stuffers, gift certificates, always the best.
Exactly.
And
Absolutely.
everybody's planning that now. Okay,
On
so
to the
on to
good
you.
stuff.
Yes. I can't wait to learn about labyrinths. Even though I've had the pleasure of walking some and watching you make them, BJ, I really don't know much about them. So please walk us into this topic. Go where you need to go because I'm so interested. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Well, let me see. I'll kind of explain a little bit about a labyrinth.
Mhm.
A labyrinth is it's just a beautiful a place for a beautiful walking meditation. Now, it's over 4,000 years old. They do not know where they originally came from, and it doesn't belong to any group, so no one can really claim that it's theirs, which is
Mm,
really nice because then you feel like you're not getting hooked into to anything in particular.
hmm
I had originally used to see an old wooden game called Labyrinth when I was a child. And my brothers got to play this all the time, but you see, I was so young, I couldn't play it. Just watched them. I kept trying to read the word on the box and try to pronounce the word labyrinth. You know, I'm thinking like, what is this word? So ever since I was tiny, it just was stuck in my mind. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until and I'm 63 now. So it wasn't until like about 2002 that a friend of mine had got the little black book of Lauren Artress's, Walking the Sacred Path, and she said she went out and took a big um, blue tarp and built a Chartres labyrinth on there. And then
Nice.
about four of us walked it, and I had just the incredible vision, and I just knew this was my path. One of my many major paths in life was to help people do labyrinths. And from that moment on, my poor family, I mean, I started drawing them in my mashed potatoes, and I felt like I was Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and it was absolutely crazy. And then I had talked to my friend Robert Ferrer one day, and Robert goes, "You better go talk to Lauren Artress because that happened to her too." And I'm going, like, "Oh." That kind of what led me on part of that path to be a trained Veritas labyrinth facilitator. So it was pretty funny. But what one of the things that happened, like Wendy and I were doing shows together back in 2002, 2003,
Yep.
and during that, Wanda and I were trying to figure out what we were going to put on this first.
Wanda is your
Wanda Winters and I, yes, we are
yes.
co-partners on. The first one was called the Universal Spiritual Healing.
Life healing. Yeah.
Yes. And then now they're called Mystical Journeys. But at the time, I kept saying, well, we're going to have a labyrinth. She goes, what do you mean we're going to have a labyrinth? I don't know. But when we do the show, we're going to be doing labyrinths. And so my husband and I left, and we're in the Bahamas, and I'm trying to put the show together. And I get on the internet. You have to go down to the library because it was all dial-up back then to even try to get on. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to find this man. And I got on the internet, and I hit this guy's button, and I called him and said, we're going to do a show, and I'd like to do a labyrinth. And I went on and on and on to him. And he says, I don't usually do this, but I have to come meet you. And for 2 years, he did a beautiful labyrinth out on the grounds, one at Bonny Castle, one at Edgewood, back in 2002 and 2003 and 2004.
I remember.
And it was amazing. This man came out of nowhere, and I found him on the internet, and he shows up, and it was like there was no question. He says, "No, I know I'm supposed to do this." So I find that on the labyrinths, a lot of these things happen. You kind of put forth energies, and things in your life can change. On a lot of labyrinths, especially the one I like to work with the classical labyrinth, which has 7 circuits. And on those particular circuits, they can also correspond to the different chakras. And so I do a lot of chakra work with the labyrinths and healings. And that way, we kind of ask people before they start to walk a labyrinth to kind of, what should I say, center themselves, and then just call in whatever angels or guides or whoever you work with, or just if you're just like a pilgrim seeking, just to go in and walk this labyrinth. When you first walk in, there's like 7 different circuits you're walking, then there's the center. When you're walking in, you don't start with the first outer circle. You actually start on the 3rd circle, the 3rd path, which is it is your solar plexus. It would correspond to that. And then from the solar plexus, you actually go to your sacral and then your core. And then the next line, you'll be going to your heart. And then so each time you're on a different line, you could also almost feel a question to yourself or something that you're thinking about, and you look down and you happen to be on a particular chakra, which is pretty amazing. I love being that way. And that's just one of the many ways that, and there's so many different labyrinths. And I don't really want to go into the history of labyrinths because there's so much information, but I will say that there are some wonderful sites. And one of the main sites for people to really see information would be called labyrinthsociety.org. It shows you how to build them, how to connect with other people. And the society has put together their website to make sure that everyone is on the same page and all the information is there, rather than information that is scattered and people are just doing hearsay. Everybody comes together and works together. Absolutely beautiful.
Wow. It sounds so wonderful, BJ. And at that one event, do you remember the labyrinth was out there and it was sort of a slow event, remember? And I was feeling a little tense and a little like pent up, I was. And you came over to me with like the wisdom of the ages and put your hand on my shoulder and said, "Wendy, why don't you go walk the labyrinth?" And I did. I got up, I went, I walked the labyrinth, and not only did my energy change, but the room became a hubbub, a beehive of activity. The fair, it was incredible, wasn't it, BJ?
Yes, it was. It just like kicked everything into gear. It was amazing.
It did. It was
really
wonderful.
Makes me want to try one now. I'm looking at the pictures on our chat, and oh my God, I'm looking at that thinking I feel so inspired to, I'm already feeling that calmness, that really high vibration. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It is amazing. Every single walk is totally different. Back in, I think, I can't remember when it was, maybe 2007, we had gone to Florida to see our children, and I was still working on my labyrinth certificate. And one of the things you have to do, you had to do so many labyrinths, and you had to have a board of directors, and you had to put all this information in order to become a true facilitator. And so it was going to be Thanksgiving. So my sons and my husband, everybody, and we all put this poster together. And my husband's idea was, okay, labyrinth walk for thankfulness. And at 11 o'clock on Thanksgiving morning, we will carve in the sand a classical 7-circuit labyrinth, followed by a short lecture in labyrinth. Will be open to the walking until the tide carries it out to sea.
Oh, I just got shivers.
Oh, so did I on that one.
So we made all these posters, and we put them all over. We're in New Smyrna. We just put them all over.
I'm so emotional.
We did this all in one day. And we had it on Thanksgiving. We ran down. Our kids were getting things ready for turkey, and their tradition is to take the turkey and throw it around like a football outside with their friends before they cook it. So they're doing that, and they get that ready. So we put it in the oven, and we run down. You see, and we're talking to people, and people are walking. I'm teaching this young woman how to draw it in the sand, and she spent the whole rest of the time drawing it over and over and over, trying to perfect the drawing. So another woman came and walked from. She had just come back from Europe, and she remembered walking the Chartres one there in outside Paris, about an hour outside Paris, and so that brought memories back for me. And my husband was there talking to this man. And this man came down. His name was Jonas Katz, or that's the name of his business. And he came and brought me pictures of labyrinths that he was drawing. And he has an art gallery 2 blocks away.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
So we put those right down in the labyrinth. And everybody else would just come off the beach and just walk it. Well, my husband spent time talking to this man. While he's talking to him, find out we had mutual friends. They're both musicians. My husband deals with the Pirates, and this man's name of his band was Pirates. And it was just such a connection that the labyrinth had brought people together that would have just gone by and passed each other.
How wonderful. Just for clarification, when you say your husband deals with the Pirates, I know what that means. But the average person listening might wonder, that might be somebody who, handles trolls or maybe fights dragons. So
actually,
for our listeners,
Alexandria Bay's pirate days for the last 36 years.
Absolutely. They do an amazing Pirates weekend there. And if anybody's looking for a really neat, interesting family, fun weekend, it's Pirates weekend in Alexandria Bay. That's awesome. So BJ, I have a question beyond the turkey throwing, which was most fascinating. I found that incredible. What if somebody doesn't have a large space to, say, lay out a fully lined labyrinth? I mean, is this something is there a way to get that, say, if you're living in a small place in a really crowded city?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. Actually, one of the best things to do is to go on that labyrinthsociety.org, and they have a line on there, and it's called Labyrinth Locator. And that you can find a labyrinth anywhere in the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so and if you know of a labyrinth that's not on there, we're asking people if they could possibly let us know. There's a whole form they can just fill out and give it to the people, and then they can say private or it can be public, and it'll talk about the hours and or if it's just private. Even if it's private, it's nice because then we're just dotting the world of labyrinths. And
I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah, they've been working for the last 5 years to really, really update that. And all the labyrinth facilities, everybody's really helping. It seems that there's a lot of different groups. There's like the New England Labyrinth Society, that's the one I originally started with, and the Veritas and the Labyrinth Society, and there's several other groups like out west and everything. It's just that they all work so well together.
Oh, is that nice, eh?
Yeah, and one of the things when I first started was, I'm kind of like a scientist, but I always want to have all the right information before I start something because I don't want to get caught up in something and find out later that, oh my goodness gracious, and don't usually get on the computer, and the computers don't really work when we're in the Bahamas. And I had looked at this one site, an email somebody had sent me, and it said Mary, and it said the labyrinth, and it said France. And I'm like, and I went back, I said something to Alex, and he goes, well, you have to go. Now, I have never really gone anywhere, let alone Europe, by myself. And he said, if you're going, you need to go for like 2 weeks. And I'm like, wow, and it was a beautiful thing. And I had no information of what I was doing. I just saw those 3 words and knew I had to go on this spiritual quest. And it was the most life-changing event to be able to spend a week inside Chartres Cathedral and these classes. And all these people that I had met. It was a lot of it had to do with medieval times, what we were dealing with. But it was amazing, and that would be a whole topic for another time.
Oh, and we have already talked to you and I that we're going to need a part 2 to this topic because it's so interesting. And I'll talk about that. Oh, yes, there was.
Sorry about that. Do you know, BJ, if there is a Labyrinth Society in Ottawa?
I
where
could
we
look it
are
up,
here.
but I'm afraid to hit any
Okay.
of the buttons on the computer.
Oh, no, I
Oh,
just didn't know whether
yeah.
you knew offhand or anything, because that was one of the questions in the chat room, was one from one of our listeners
Oh,
wanted to know if there was any around Ottawa or anything like that around Ottawa.
well, ask them right now to check the labyrinthsociety.org
I
and hit
already
Ottawa,
posted
and
it.
then they can post it all right now.
Oh,
Perfect.
fantastic.
That would be
Awesome.
really cool to be able to show how easy that is to use that site. And on that site,
Oh.
there's like they have conventions every year, and we do all sorts of things. And one of the things is it lists all the different labyrinths on that site. That's why I truly wanted to get all this information out for people to go to that site in particular. And on all this, it shows all the different labyrinths, all the different types. It gives you the definition. It gives you how to walk them, and it also shows you how to draw them. There's an interactive one showing you how to draw a seventh circuit and how to draw the different ones, which is amazing to me, because then you can go out yourself and build this. You can go, when I do my lectures, I give everybody pieces of paper. I give them 2 colored pens, and I say, okay, do your seed pattern that you'll see on that labyrinth site.
Yeah.
Draw your seed pattern. Actually, that's also one of the things I just sent Wendy on the Skype.
Yeah.
I think you put it in the chat room how to draw it. You just do 2 different colors, one for the seed pattern, and then the next one you use another colored pen or pencil so that you don't get confused the first couple times you draw it. And then when you start at the beginning and you trace it with your hand, if you make it to the center, you've done it correctly, because you can make it back out. And one major thing about a labyrinth is there's only one way in and one way out. And so because of that, when you're starting before you go in, your left brain says, I'm going to walk this. I've decided to walk this, and I do not have to worry about any dead ends, any tricks, any turns that are just going to not be there anymore. So your left brain can settle down, quiet down, and let your right brain come out, your creative side, your side that can really answer a lot of questions. Sometimes your left brain just gets so in the way that you can't get the answers that your solar plexus, your gut is trying to tell you is the right answer. And by walking the lane with that, you just find to get to be who you are, your core to yourself. In this day and age, everybody is so busy that if we can just take that time to be with ourselves, and if you can take a look at that picture of what that 7-circuit classical labyrinth looks like, that it also looks like a brain, and it also kind of looks like a womb. So when
it really does.
So when you're walking in the labyrinth, you're also in your brain, and you're also like being in the womb where you were just alone by yourself and attached to your mother and your hearts and your spiritual connection. So then when you're walking in, yeah, it is incredible. And so you're listening to yourself. You know, and
we had a lady
rituals, but that was just one that's really important, because you kind of when you're walking in, you're kind of thinking of a question or a problem or searching, and then when you're going to the center,
meditation,
you're just illuminating, and on the way out, you're thinking of how you're going to interact with what it is you're trying to solve this problem in one of the many ways. And one of the main things is, you have to leave the labyrinth. You cannot stay inside your brain. You cannot stay inside the labyrinth. You cannot stay inside the womb. You have to come back out and re-enter into this real world that we all live in now. So then it just brings a sense of peace and calm, and things aren't as bad as when they went in. They're so stress relieving. I mean, every walk is so incredibly different.
It's powerful, BJ. And we had a question. A woman asked, does each one have all the different designs have a different meaning? I would assume that they do. She was looking at some of the different designs of labyrinths and was really noticing that a lot of them are different from each other.
I wouldn't say they have different meanings. I would just say that they're different types of walks and probably made at different eras. But going to that site would probably really explain a lot more. I must have 70 books on labyrinths, and there's so much. I don't know. I'm just kind of a collector, I guess. You know, a couple of the books I started with Helen Curry, and an awesome one is Sig Logan, Lonegren, and he works a lot with geomancy. He's got a site called geomancy.org. Definitely worth going to check out. It's like those first few books that you either found in the library or people started sending you, just amazing. And another amazing person is Jeff Sayward, Saward, from England. I mean, these people have so delved into it with their whole lives. And Robert Ferrer, who does nothing but makes awesome labyrinths and lectures. I have several different book lists that I have gotten from like the New England Society and from the Veritas that just mention so many different books. So
it's fantastic.
I think it would be fantastic to do. I do a lot of walking meditations. So when I'm, especially summertime and whatnot, and when I'm in my, like you say, being in your head too much and having too much going on, I tend to walk and so it's like a walking meditation, right? It's a mindfulness meditation. But I think this would be fantastic to try because I'm already doing the walking, mindfulness walking, but to do it in something like that, I think would be so much more powerful.
But now I have a question, BJ, because I was doing a little bit of research, and I found that there were that some labyrinths are like mazes, much like you see in The Shining, where there's some challenges and little puzzles in there, and then others almost have. If you walk it, there's no real confusion within that space. Is that also to say, again, like you're saying, it just happens to be the style of certain ones versus, say, the spiritual quest when you enter?
No, mazes are mazes, and they are the ones that get your left brain like, oh, I got to really watch and pay attention in here, and this is my thinking game. But a true labyrinth is unicursal. It has one way in and one way out. That's why your left brain can quiet down. Yeah.
Well, thank you for clarifying that because, I was diving in and I'm like, okay, she's the expert. I want to learn. But then I'm thinking, let me feed my brain. And maybe I think a lot of people get the two confused. Those walking mazes are equally as breathtaking. But again, only the labyrinths I'd ever seen were those, just like you say, that you go in one and you come out the other and there's no room for confusion within that space.
Yeah, it's gone down in history as a confusing statement. And that's why the Labyrinth Society is trying to make sure all the terminology is there so people can have all the right information rather than just, hearsay. One of the things I picked up from this old man one time. I have this labyrinth, a Seventh Circuit labyrinth, sterling silver, like little jewelry. I really can't get them anymore. And on the backside, he has Cleopatra. Now, from what I know, but I'm not really sure about this whole story. But I mean, the labyrinths were one way a long time ago, and then they got to be changed, and they started changing them into more games and mazes and hedges and things like that. So how the kids want out with the old, in with the new. Let's have some fun. And I think that was it because didn't they have? I think that she would go in the center of the maze, and Mark Anthony was supposed to find her, or something like that.
Oh, sweet! Oh, I love that.
So,
now,
how true that story is, but that's the story I've been handed down a long time ago.
I love it. So, Jules, look where we're at. We're at the halfway mark.
Oh, look at us! Look at us at 7 already. That time at 7:29. So yes, I think we will stop for a short break, and. Yeah, I think we will stop for a short break.
All right, Jules.
You tell Jules is having a moment.
And thank you, listeners. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Beacon of Light Radio, a guiding light in the storm of life. Do you want to connect with inspirational spiritual guests? Have fun while quenching your thirst for metaphysical teachings. Then set a reminder for Kimline Company with host Kimla Dodds, international best-selling author, psychic medium, astrologer, and feng shui practitioner. Every Thursday evening, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Come be a part of the show by joining us in the chat room or calling in for support or a free reading. We are waiting for your light on Kimline Company. Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Beacon of Light Radio. And until then, may the angels protect you and guide you.
Are you plagued by nightmares, negative self-talk, depression, anxiety, or even strange occurrences in your home? You may need an energy cleanse healing or house cleanse to clear this from your life. Marcy Howell is a divine healer who can help you remove these negative energies from your body and space, as well as help you communicate with a loved one who has passed to find closure. If you are seeking a fresh start and outlook on life, contact Marcy Howell at divinehealings.co or find her on Facebook.
Are you looking to connect with your spirit guides and angels? Maybe you're looking to grow spiritually and learn about who you really are? Look no further. Brandy Baker is the guidance goddess. Listen and call in for mini readings live on the air. Friday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern. Only on Beacon of Light Radio.
Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to Spiritual Soup. We're back for the second half of the show. And today, Wendy and I have a fabulous guest. It is Miss BJ Mosher. Welcome back to the show, hon.
Thank you.
Yeah, and our topic is labyrinths, these amazing, beautiful things. So, BJ, I would love to hear more of your experiences with these things. And you know what I also remember you saying? You were drawn to the word on the box when you were a kid, the game.
Yes.
And then later you were drawn, like almost psychically pulled towards these things again. And then you referenced that you met another man who was drawn just by having met you to be involved with the labyrinth. So it sounds like these energy vortexes, or the power, even on a subconscious level, even before they're created, is somewhere calling to subconscious to come to it, to walk towards it, and to learn it.
And I believe a lot of it is also Mother Earth. We've done so much to Mother Earth that these beautiful energy sites is also helping her. And I think that there's several different labyrinths, and like I'm trying to think of one of the things I'd heard, that when you're making labyrinths, we got left-handed circuits and right-handed circuits, that a long time ago that a lot of them were right-handed circuits, and now like the universe and the energies are asking us to build the left-handed circuits. I'm not exactly sure of all this. I'm making sure, if I left and right, so I'll make sure they're not confused. But part of that is also working with the circular energy of the earth. When we go to put the labyrinths in, or just kind of talk about even whether I'm going to do them for a permanent one or just even a temporary one, one of the things we do is I always take my dowsing rods out with me, or I take the pendulums, and we go out and we check the energy, and we ask Mother Earth, where is this the center of this labyrinth, and then we go from there. And she always tells me my rods will open up, and that's where I'll start my labyrinth. When we were first putting the ones together at the Kapala Yoga Center in Northern New York, Nancy Fila had started this whole program, and we were putting it in with Marty Kane was the person coming to help us all do this. And we all had the dowsing rods, and we were going over, and she goes, okay, now find the center, find the energy. One of the things we realized that you have to be very careful on your questions that you're asking, because the site that we have is an old Indian site, we believe, with energies, and that there are more than one particular perfect site. So what we had to do was ask, where is the center of this labyrinth for the Kapala Yoga in this year 2002? Where's the center? So that we weren't getting conflicting energy centers, because we were all asking a different question in our head.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and then once we got all the same questions and we tunnel vision that way, we all got the same spot, which is totally amazing, because we had a lot of people there. We put this 70-foot labyrinth together in 2 days.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And you built it with did you use like metal with little flags on it and strings?
That's how we did it when we laid it all out. We would douse it all out, put our little flags down each row as we went, and then they dug all the holes around with a little, and then like an edger type of thing, and then laid it with plastic, and then put bricks in. Nancy had gotten, I guess, 2,000 bricks, and
wow.
we put them all in. So it was an amazing event. And Marty Kane, who put so many labyrinths in all along, especially the eastern seaboard, and all over Europe. And one day she told us this story, and it was that some man asked her to put this labyrinth in, so she was dowsing it and dowsing, and she kept saying, she came back to him and says, you know, this is just, I don't know about this. I am coming out with these huge, giant paths and circuits, and I don't know why, but no matter what I do, it keeps me. He goes, oh, I didn't want to tell you, but I want to train my Clydesdales in it. So, so she was getting these large paths, and that's exactly what the energy was this man was looking for, and that's exactly, and so it was kind of like a confirmation for him that and Mother Earth and the energy fields. It was just kind of an interesting story.
It's awesome.
So, BJ, I've got a question for you. What was the biggest one that you've built that had the most impact on you?
Well, I just love building them in the sand, and everyone is so different. It's a hard question because
hard question, isn't
when
it?
we were doing the labyrinth conventions, we were in Lenox doing. Everybody was putting different labyrinths in. Well, one man came and didn't know what he was going to do. He just knew he was going to build a labyrinth. And when he turned around, and they showed him where his spot was. He built. It had nothing but pine needles, and it took him 7 hours, but he built this awesome pine needle labyrinth. There were about 7 labyrinths built that day, and that one. And when you walked that one, you felt like, I know, I saw an acorn on the ground, and I felt like I went back to my childhood, and I just remembered many memories.
Oh wow!
Then another one that they had just finished building before I got there. And I just got there in time to walk, and it was so solemn. It felt like you were in the middle of a prayer the whole time. And then the next one we went over to, and we walked it, and it was so joyful. It was like we all started dancing around and just dancing. It was like joyful. And then we went over to build another one. We were using the flags. And one of these flags, in these flags in particular, the Labyrinth Society had been invited to join the Council of Churches, which has never been invited before, in Spain. And I guess all of the churches, everybody was going to be at this huge conference. And so in order to help pay to go, because nobody has any money, you know, and so we sold flags. And we sold flags by putting a prayer on the flag. So you wrote your prayer on the flag. And
I love that. I just love that.
And that served the money. So they took it there and they put it out in all walks of life, walked in Spain, in this labyrinth. Then they collected these flags. And then I think they went to, I'm not sure where, I think they might have gone to Glastonbury. I'm not exactly sure. They built one there. And then Marty brought them back, and we built a labyrinth there. And we're building this whole labyrinth. When we walked there, the feeling of peace was amazing.
Oh.
And one of the things she had told us, and when we were doing the Kripalu Yoga, she says that she had gotten a picture of this, sometimes a pink beam comes down the center of the labyrinth. She goes, it's just so strange. And all this beautiful pink light would come down. And she had seen this before. And as we were doing this, and I'm just a photo person. I just love taking photos. I'm a photoholic, I guess. And we got this picture. We're just snapping shots of everybody just, putting together. Here is this beautiful pink light shooting right down to the center.
Oh, wow.
And that one was of peace. And that was so many prayers from so many people all around the world. And so many people had walked it, in connection of love. And one of the main things I do believe on, like the labyrinths, is just walking it with an open heart, And there's no right or wrong way ever to walk a labyrinth. But you can walk it and then walk right to the center. Or you can run the whole thing or crawl it or just skip it or just walk these tiniest little steps. Or whatever you want to do. But the only the only thing we usually ask is when you're leaving, just to give thanks. Just to give thanks and have gratitude. I mean, otherwise there's no right or wrong way to walk.
Now, can more than one person at a time be on a labyrinth, or do you wait? If somebody's on it, is it rude to start while somebody's already walking it?
Oh, no. You can have 50, 100 people on there at the same time, or one person can walk it. We've been to several of them that where all of a sudden everybody just kind of gets together and we'll hug each other as we're going by and try to still let everybody have their own space if they look like they need their space. But we've had them that nobody got through it very fast because we all hugged and hugged and hugged because it was a really tight group. Now there's another one we did on several of the gatherings, and that was there's this dance, and some of the people are inside and some are out. First, your partners before you go in, so you know who your partner is. And then you walk up to a certain circuit, you hold hands, and you can walk through almost all the whole thing together on different paths until you get to like your spiritual center. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing whoever figured that out.
Oh, I think that's just so beautiful
It's very
sounding.
beautiful, especially when you have candles all around it and it's nighttime and we probably had 200 people walking that particular labyrinth at that time together.
Oh, this is a must create again. I think the last time I did a labyrinth with you, BJ, was on with that women's retreat when you came up here to Ontario, to Rockland, Ontario, with me. And I think that's the last time I've walked a labyrinth, and that was quite a while ago.
Yes, and that was just an amazing vision of like going to bed at night going like, I really wish it would snow. They say it's not going to snow, and I wish it was going to snow. And we woke up in the morning, and there was a beautiful dusting of snow, just enough for me to run out and grab a broom, and I made this labyrinth, and it stayed. The rest of it disappeared, all the snow around, except for what we made labyrinth on that path, and it was amazing.
Was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing. It was a blessing. It was felt like magic. It was, in my opinion, it was magic.
I agree. I agree.
And we hugged each other walking that labyrinth.
Yes. Yes. But so on some of the labyrinths, you want to make sure that people are coming and they're only going to do it once or something, and they want to have their space. They're there to work on questions and answers and or grieving. One of the ones we did in the Bahamas, sometimes you can like leave like a little gift for the labyrinth, or leave a little nut you found. Or this one particular woman had found a crab, a shell of a crab, and she says, "Oh, I'm a Cancer, and I thought I'd bring this and put this in the labyrinth." I says, "Oh, that's beautiful." So she puts this in the special little section we have in the labyrinth, and she walks it, and we all are walking, and then afterwards we all kind of stand down by the water and just let everybody else finish going through their meditation. And I could see that I needed to go over and spend some time with her, and I came over, and when I walked up to her, she says, "I found another crab," and my husband was a Cancer, and he had passed away the year before, and she goes, "I'm so happy." She goes, "All I know is that he always wanted to be buried at sea, and now I know after walking this labyrinth that you've built in the sand, that when the tide comes to take it out, that he will be buried at sea because I'm leaving him there." Because she left her grieving there in the center. And she says to me, he always told me that he would come back to me as a frigate bird and let me know that everything was okay. Now, not going to believe this, but we look up and there is a frigate bird flying over our head in a circle.
I believe it.
There was not a dry eye on any of us. It was just amazing in the healing. And after that, she was so much better and really felt the relief after a year of holding on that he couldn't have his memories honored because they don't, they were not going to just bury him at sea,
Absolutely. So here's a question. It's such a beautiful story, BJ. If I'm, say, stressed at home and I'm it's an hour before there's some meeting or something, can I meditate on the image of labyrinth? Can I look at picture of labyrinth and trace it with my finger? Can I do that?
Oh yes. Well, that seed pattern that I showed you, that I sent, you could draw that and then just trace it with your hand. You just by tracing it with your hand, left brain, right brain, it goes back and forth because you've got your different curves, especially with the Chartres one. It's got so many different quadrants and turns that your left and right brain are going back and forth so much, and it's a real stress reliever. I had this architect was helping me at the yoga center for to put a paper together because he goes, I lost all my papers. He goes, I had to start from scratch. He goes, I had a wicked headache, but I knew the deadline was tomorrow for you. So he says, I started working. He goes, hey, BJ, do you know there's something special about this? This is like sacred geometry. And he went on and on. He goes, and my headache disappeared.
Oh, right on.
And he goes, whatever you want for that yoga center, I will help you for free. I'm going, oh, But yes,
Oh,
I would say learn to draw them and doodle them, and it's a really good creative way to help you be in a think tank, so to speak. If you're trying to
yeah.
come up with new creative ideas, it's just
Yeah.
amazing.
I've also gone into, from the outside of a labyrinth, been feeling a crisis within me, like what I'm experiencing as a crisis, and walked in carrying it, intentionally bringing it in. I don't know if that's right or wrong. Like you say, I don't think there is right or wrong. And in the center, released it,
Yes.
and turned my back to it and left it behind as I walked out, and was free of it upon exiting.
Exactly.
And
And Mother Earth knows what to do with it. Just as far as I'm concerned, I just imagine it turning into beautiful golden shimmering light and just recycling.
absolutely, absolutely, so powerful, so powerful. So, do you lecture on these? Do you and you were saying you have a lot of books. Um, is it something that people like? There were some people in the chat that have already found labyrinths in their local areas, and looked them up, and are locating them. But for you, do you find that you dream about it? That you go there in an astral plane ever, for yourself, BJ?
You mean going there when I'm
Like when you're
walking?
sleeping, like as an astral projection, do you dream about them?
I like they're like everywhere. And one of the things that started happening to me when I was at the yoga center one day, I was in the center, and I was like, you know how you defocus and you're looking at those paintings, and they jump out at you and stuff. Well, I was just sitting there defocusing, just being, I guess, and just being in the moment. And it's like this fog or this mist starts to come up and rise up. And I've been trying to ask everybody, does anybody know this? And nobody can tell me what this is. It's not scary, and it's almost like being enveloped by Mother Earth, but it's like I can, and then I'll look everywhere around, and there is no mist, there's no truly fog anywhere, and I just feel it around me. And then I got to the point where I could be anywhere, and I could watch this come up, and
Oh,
then
wow.
as long as I didn't lose my focus, and then like somebody calls me, and I'm like, oh, okay. But it's just, I still don't know what that is, and I'm curious, but it's just a beautiful, like warm hug, I guess. But it's
Oh,
something.
it
It's something
sounds
that I've got
like
to
it.
find out what it is one of these days.
You know what I love you keep saying, and it's really, really resonating with you, Mother Earth, Mother Earth, Mother Earth. And I'm loving that because I can see the sort of the chakra connections. I can also see sort of the planetary connections within that space. Like I feel like some of them are so interesting, say if you were perceiving them from above, in their symmetry and their peacefulness, in their imagery, but also say the planetary connections through the seven pathways, or the seven, what are they called? They're called,
Chakras. The seven
yeah,
chakras.
or
Yeah.
the circuit, the seven circuits as well.
Right.
Within it. It's incredible. But every time you say Mother Earth, I feel like there's this heartbeat saying, walk a labyrinth, walk a labyrinth, walk a labyrinth. It's incredible. They've been found in petroglyphs even. I mean, these things have been around for so incredibly long. People have spiritually and intuitively, for whatever reason within our programming, been drawn to these experiences.
And it's been over 4,000 years old that they find them. One of the things they used to find, like in Scandinavia, I believe that the fishermen would build them on the sand, draw a quick one, and then go in there, and go from there, run right from the center to their boat for a good catch and prosperity and safe return. So those are some of the oldest ones. That's when it was used. And also a labyrinth, when we're talking about the seven chakras and we're talking about the music, each one of the chakra, like the root chakra corresponds to C, and the sacral is D, the solar plexus is E, and then F, G, A, B, C. So they also correspond to music notes, like you were talking about with the astrological. It just, and then the one will be a physical, emotional, mental, and then personal and spiritual, manifestation, vision, great spirit, and your goal.
Oh, it's just incredible. It's just
Now,
beautiful.
one thing
It's
I do want to say about the labyrinth, when you're walking a labyrinth and you're finally getting over, you're almost near the center, and all of a sudden you're walking like you're on the seventh circuit, and you're like all of a sudden you're almost close right to the center, and all of a sudden you start to move away, and you walk away 2 more circuits farther away from your center and then all of a sudden you walk in from the fifth, and you walk right into the center, and all of a sudden you'll have a vision like, oh, I thought I was doing something wrong. I thought I was off my path, and
yeah.
do I get off my path? But if I stay on my path, I will make it to my goal. And that was like a major metaphor that shows up,
Hmm.
Actually,
Oh,
the
it's
first time you
beautiful.
walk it, and then you sit there and you have to like, oh yeah, good. I was worried. My left brain came in for a minute.
Oh, it's fantastic. Um, uh, so you were saying, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my notes because I keep drifting away while you're speaking into a very meditative place, I will say.
It's okay. I was
BJ,
doing the same thing, looking at the photos that were posted and thinking, "Oh my God, I'd love to be there." That
Well,
sensation, that calmness.
I would like everybody in the audience to take that seed pattern and to practice drawing one. And if you have any problems, you can probably contact Wanda or I over at the realmshift.net. No, realmshift.com, our website, and you can be able to go through there. I don't have a lot of labyrinth things on there because we're kind of revising all the time, and but we'll be able to answer you from there probably.
Fantastic. Wendy, do you want to post that in the chat room?
yeah, I'm typing it right now. You are
Fantastic.
very intuitively gifted, my friend.
I must be so.
And my friend Wanda has been the one putting that website together. And she's done an awesome, incredible job. I am just
Yeah,
so
that's
proud.
Wanda
And she never knew how to
Winters.
do it. She learned by the seat of her pants how to do it. I'm so proud of her.
And she's doing a great job. I know this
Yes.
website quite well.
Yeah.
So, BJ, you were saying you were at the World Labyrinth Day. Where was
Yes.
that? What was that
Yes.
about? That sounded interesting when we were talking before the show.
Oh, but I would like everybody to know that on the first Saturday of May every single year, we have a walk called it's the World Labyrinth Day. And everyone around the world at 1 o'clock, it's called Walk at One as One. And everyone walks in their time zone of one at the same time to put this beautiful, gentle wave of loving energy around the world. Now, if you can't walk at one, or you want to walk it several times, you can project a different time zone also. So that you say you want to do time zone for someplace else, or you could only do it at 2 o'clock, you could present that time zone for that area that may not have someone. And then we ask people to let us know where they've walked and send pictures and things like that. It's really a really
sounds
awesome idea
fantastic.
event.
Absolutely, and it sounds like something that people could really look forward to as this year is spinning and changing, and we're going through such energetic shifts currently right now. Even this show again has put me in a peaceful mind, a self-empowered place, a place of letting go, place of gratitude and forgiveness, a connection with Mother Earth, an old something that speaks to the primitive self as well, in such the simplicity of finding inner peace and being fully present in the moment, just from this discussion, which I'm enjoying so much, BJ.
Thank you very much.
Just incredible.
I have a question. I know, BJ, you were saying that people could use different materials to build their labyrinths. Now, is there something that you suggest if someone's doing it for the first time? Is there a material that's better than others, or that resonates better, or it has a better flow of energy?
No, nothing would have a different flow of energy. It's just whatever materials you want to make them in. Now, some of the things that I have seen before is people they'll take the pattern. So you have the pattern down on the ground, like whether you can use masking tape, like we've done masking tapes in cellars to put it because it's going to be temporary. But so you say masking tape and you build the labyrinth. Then you have an event where you ask everyone to bring a canned food or some non-perishable food. or some shoes, and you line those lines with the food and the shoes, and you give those to a shelter afterwards. So here you can do something very powerful for a community without,
Love that.
and
I'm
then
loving that.
temporary.
Yeah,
A
I think that's
community
a
built.
fantastic idea.
You give that area a blessing, and you also thank the area itself when you pull the labyrinth back up and you dismantle it too. So
Oh my goodness, that's powerful. Oh, wow. See now, Jules, this is where my mind's going.
Yeah, and your mind's thinking the same thing I am, because I'm
I
just
can
all
hear you
these.
too right now. Those hands.
I know you can hear us. I know you can hear us.
Oh,
So
God.
okay, well, I'm gonna kind of tie this up, but with the promise, my dear friend, that we are gonna do a part 2 on this incredible, limitless, intoxicating topic. You were mentioning that you're going to be remote, maybe in Hawaii, and we could do it while you're remote there. That would be beautiful because your energy will probably have that amazing sun-kissed vibe, my friend.
Thank you. The last time we were in Hawaii, it was during the Mayan calendar day in December, and we went and we built one on the Princess's beach, and we built a labyrinth, and we walked it, and it was an amazing thing. And I will tell you more about that on when we have this in Hawaii.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. I also want to say to our listeners that next week it's the U.S. Thanksgiving, and Beacon of Light Radio is a U.S. broadcast, and we will be having a rerun of a previous show, but it's one of Jules and my favorite shows that we've enjoyed the most making all along, when we asked more questions about getting to know a best friend. So that'll be next week on November 24th. And for December 1st, which is in 2 weeks, we are having a guest back because we enjoyed him so incredibly much for our astral projection show. We are having Mark Troy. He's coming back on. We talked about astral projections before with him. This time we're going to talk about spiritual healing and spirit guides with Mark Troy on December 1st, and we're looking forward to that.
Well, and we'll probably also be talking about, he just did a new healing modality about color healing. So I'm really interested in hearing about that as well. I think it'll be fantastic because I know a lot of people resonate with certain colors and feel very calmed or soothed by certain colors. So it'd be very interesting on seeing how he uses that as a therapy.
Yeah, and he's just so much information, and equally as comfortable as you, BJ, to talk with. So again, thank you for being with us tonight, BJ Mosier. People can find out more about her at therealmshift.com. And I also want to thank our listeners and the people in the chat room. There was a lot of wonderful people who had found labyrinths just during the show in their local areas. And BJ, I think that all of us are going to be doing that as soon as we get off the phone. I sure am.
I really appreciate this. Has been wonderful. I feel very honored to be on the show. And I didn't know about this radio station, so I have something very special to share. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you for being. It was lovely to meet you.
You too. Thank you.
And for all our listeners, we will be back next Thursday. No, not next Thursday. The recording, as Wendy said, next Thursday, but the following week with Mark. Until then, sending everyone tons of love and light.